Hi, my name is Kmot. This podcast is brought to you by Majuba TVET College and it relates to financial accounting and for South African TVET colleges. In this presentation, I'm going to focus on bank reconciliation as contained in Module 1 of the Financial Accounting and 4 textbook that is used at Majuba TVET College. For ease of reference, I'd like to refer to this part as Part 2.1. I'm going to tackle a bank reconciliation on a piecemeal basis, and I've decided to look at the question paper which was written on the 10th of June 2016. Quickly want to go to the question paper. There you go. Question 2 related to the preparation of the bank reconciliation statement on 30 April 2015. I'd like us to focus on requirement 2.1, and I specifically want to focus on completion of the cash receipt journal. The cash receipt journal is also referred to as the CRJ. In subsequent presentation, I'm going to tackle other requirements of the question. Candidates were required to complete the CRJ for the month of 30 April 2015. All this information relates to ABC Fashion Wholesalers for April 2015. Let's quickly go through the given information for the preparation of the cash receipt journal. Candidates were provided with a bank reconciliation statement on 31 April 2015. Remember, this will be considered to be a bank reconciliation statement for the previous month. The current month is 30 April 2015. Therefore, the 31 March 2015 bank reconciliation is referred to as the previous month. Candidates were also provided with a cash receipt journal of ABC Fashion Wholesalers for the month of April 2015. The cash receipt journal, CRJ, has already been prepared by the bookkeeper. However, candidates were required to update the CRJ with amounts that appear on the bank statement but that were not taken into account in preparation of the cash receipt journal on April 2015. Therefore, we're not going to repeat transactions that were already reflected in the preparation of the cash receipt journal. However, we're going to update that balance with whatever transactions that appeared on the bank statement but that were not reflected on the cash receipt journal. In addition, we're going to take additional information into account. Let me quickly go to additional information. We're going to take additional information into account to update the cash receipt journal. We could possibly have some of the amounts that appear under the additional information that are required in the preparation of the CRJ. There are various techniques you can employ in the preparation of the CRJ, but firstly, I want to start by taking the totals and update my Excel spreadsheet. Let me quickly go take you through to the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to employ the Excel spreadsheet to illustrate the preparation of the cash receipt journal. So we're given totals. I'm going to take those totals. I'm going to copy those totals. I'm going to paste them there. I just quickly want to explain the format of the cash receipt journal. You see the format that we're going to use to answer the question. It's exactly the same as the format that has been used in the preparation of the cash receipt journal by the bookkeeper of ABC. So we're going to employ exactly the same structure, same column, exactly the same, except that we're not going to take those transactions because they've been taken into account. Okay, moving along swiftly. Now what we want to do is we want to start by entering the total balance because there's an amount that we're going to update. I'm going to enter the total balance. If you follow the 916660 should be populated in that cell because it relates to sales column. The 800 should be populated in that cell because it relates to debtors column, and the 5000 should be populated in that cell because it related to the amount of sundry accounts. Remember, these amounts were provided. Let me quickly take you to the cash receipt journal that has been prepared by the bookkeeper. That's exactly what we imputed at this stage. Remember, we want to arrive at the total of the bank, so I'm simply going to say this is the sum of all those cells. There you go. We're going to follow the same thought process in updating the CRJ with amounts that appear on the bank statement but that were not taken into account in preparation of the CRJ for the month of April. So I just want to populate the rest of the cells with that formula. There we go. Okay, let's quickly populate other cells relating to the amount of 97,460. That relates to the document number. We're not going to have anything because we actually use the CRJ. And that relates to the date. We're going to write the 30th. That is the 30th of April. And that relates to details. This will be totals because it relates to all these transactions. So we're not going to take a specific detail relating to a specific transaction because this constitutes all those transactions. Therefore, I'm going to call it a total. There you go, totals. Under folio, I'm going to call this a balance brought forward. It is a balance that has been brought forward by virtue of the fact that the cash receipt journal has already been prepared. However, we want to update the amount of the cash receipt journal. Moving along swiftly. The next thing that I'm going to do, remember you can employ any technique that is effective. The next thing that I'm going to do, I recommend that we do a comparison of the bank reconciliation statement of the last month with the bank statement. And we're solely going to focus on the credit side. I'd like us to focus on the credit side because we want to determine amounts that will be taken into account in the preparation of the cash receipt journal. Amounts that will be taken into account as a rule of thumb will be represented in the credit side of the bank statement. Therefore, it's for that reason that I'm going to start with the credit side of the bank reconciliation statement and compare the credit side to the credit side of the bank statement. You can place a tick on amounts that appear on the bank reconciliation of the previous month and amounts that appear on the bank statement. Allow me to use a highlighter. So I'm going to highlight that in green if it appears on the bank reconciliation and it also appears on the bank statement. Before I even highlight it in green, I need to ensure that it appears on the current month's bank statement. Remember, this relates to the bank reconciliation of the last month. That amount was reported as an outstanding deposit. We need to make a follow-up and see whether it has gone through the bank or not. If it has gone through the bank, it's no longer a reconciling item. We're going to clear that amount, and going forward, we're not going to take it into account in preparing either the CRJ or the new bank reconciliation. Let's quickly go establish whether that amount appears on the credit side of the bank statement. As you can see, that amount is a deposit. It relates to that amount. Let's assume that this amount is exactly that amount. So I'm going to highlight this in green as I've mentioned. That item is no longer what we call a reconciling item. It has been reconciled. It has subsequently been taken through to the bank. Moving along swiftly, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the cash receipt journal that has been prepared by the bookkeeper for the month of April. I'm going to compare the total bank column. Sorry, I couldn't highlight it, so I'm going to compare those, that amount, and that amount, and that amount, which basically makes the total bank column of the cash receipt journal. I'm going to compare that with the amounts as per the credit side of the bank statement. As you can see, the bank statement is from the bank called Gas Bank, and it's for the month of April, for the 30th of April to be specific, and it relates to ABC Fashion Wholesalers. So this is the correct bank statement. So let's quickly do the comparison. Remember, we're going to compare the credit side with the total of the bank column of the cash receipt journal. The first amount I'd like to compare is that amount. Before I even place a green highlighter, I need to make sure that it appears on the cash receipt journal. So we've got 2100 as per the bank statement, credit side. I'm going to go to the cash receipt journal. 2100, there you go. I'm going to place a green highlighter. So this is going to be a very slow exercise. Please bear with me. There you go. The next amount is 12,700. 12,700, it appears there. I'm going to highlight there in green. The next amount is 15,960. 15,960, there you go, it appears. I'm going to highlight there in green. The next amount is 12,500. Already did that. The 12,500 appears, there you go. So basically this is a comparison, this is a reconciliation of the bank statement for the month of April and the CRJ. The purpose of this exercise is to update the CRJ with amounts that were not taken into account and completing the CRJ for the month of April. The next amount is 5,000. It appears there on the bank statement. Let's go check on the CRJ. Nothing else. The only amount that appears on the CRJ, it's 36,200. Let's go see whether that amount agrees on the credit side of the bank statement. No, it doesn't. Together with the rest of those amount, that amount doesn't appear. It doesn't appear. It doesn't appear. Please, if you're uncertain, quickly go to your CRJ and check whether those amounts appear on the CRJ. Okay, moving along swiftly, we've established that those amounts do not appear. The next thing that we need to do, we need to go to additional information. Additional information will provide further details regarding those amounts, regarding that amount and that amount and that amount. I don't want us to assume that all those amounts will be taken into account in the preparation of the CRJ. Hence, it's important before you even take those amounts to the CRJ to go to additional information. Let's quickly go to additional information. Transaction 1 relates to check number A50 that was issued by ABC. ABC is the business that we currently completing the bank reconciliation for. So they made a payment to Edgar's in March 2015 in settling an account. That's basically creditors. However, this check was lost and was never received by the bank. So it has subsequently been stopped by ABC. Remember when we issued this check, we recorded this transaction in the cash payment journal. When we do a reversal, we're going to do a reversal in the cash receipt journal. It's important that we do the reversal because the check is lost. It will not go through the bank. Hence, it was considered to be one of the reconciling items. I quickly want to go to last month's bank reconciliation statement. As you can see, it was considered to be a reconciling item. Let me quickly highlight. I'm not sure if you can see that amount. I'm going to highlight. Allow me to highlight this in green. That check has been taken into account. This check is going to affect the CRJ due to the fact that it's lost and it must be reversed. Apologies, there you go, that's the transaction. Allow me to highlight this in green. That has been taken into account. So allow me to take that that amount. I'm quickly going to take it and I'm going to take it to my Excel spreadsheet. Let me quickly open my Excel spreadsheet. There you go, that's my Excel spreadsheet. Already we populated the total balance that we want to update. The next thing that I'm going to do that check relating to a check that was lost. So the doc number, it's A50. We're specifically told that's the check number. Let's quickly go back to given information. Yes, true, it's A50. It's an amount of 3,000. The date is the 30th. I'm not going to write anything because we're still using the same date. It relates to Edgar's. Let me quickly go there. I'm going to go to details. We're specifically told that it relates to Edgar's. So I'm quickly going to write Edgar's there. I'm not going to write anything there. I'm not going to write anything there because this is a formula and this is a sum of that cell and that cell. I'm only going to populate whatever appropriate cell we need to populate in regards to that amount, and that amount will be updated. Let's populate it. It doesn't relate to sales, it relates to creators control account. We don't have a specific column for creators control account. It does not reflect to debtors, therefore we're going to use the sundry account. The amount was 3,300. There you go. Remember, we still need to write the description of the sundry account. The description of the sundry account is creditors control. So I'm just going to have it as creditors control. Moving along swiftly, let's go back to our information. What else? Remember, we've already taken into account those transactions in regards to a comparison, but now we need to take them into account in preparation of the CRJ. However, we need to consult the additional information so that we can get further information relating to those transactions. The bank statement showed unpaid check of 350. We're not going to take into account because we're focusing on the CRJ. Don't worry, I'll explain this transaction when we're dealing with the CPJ. The debit entry was in respect of, not going to take into account CPJ. The credit entry on the 28th of April was in respect of an internet transfer that already a tenant made into the bank account. I just quickly want to highlight that in green. We're going to take it into account in completion of the CRJ because it's the credit on the 28th. It relates to Ready. Ready is the tenant. Let's quickly get the date, 28 April. So we're going to trace by the date the actual amount that we're going to take into account, 28 April. So that transaction, I'm not sure if I'll be able to highlight that. Allow me to highlight in green. We've taken that into account. Or let me place yellow because green relates to those that amounts, those that reflected on the bank statement and the CRJ. So I'm going to highlight this in yellow. We're going to take this amount and updating the CRJ. We specifically told that it relates to R-ready. There you go, R-ready. So I'm going to write the description R-ready. And the document number, if you want to know exactly where we obtained this amount, please refer to the bank statement. Allow me to use BS. BS for the bank statement. The amount relates to rent because it's from the tenant. It doesn't relate to sales. It doesn't relate to debtors. Therefore, I'm going to take it to the sundries accounts. The amount is 5,000. The total amount in the bank column has been updated. And it relates to rent income because we're specifically told that it's from the tenant. There you go. Moving along swiftly, I'm going to go to the next transaction. The transaction number 5, it says the credit entry on 30 April was in respect of deposits that ABC traders made directly into their account, but it appeared on the business's bank statement. But I need to talk about this because it was on the credit side. It was that entry on the 30th. We know for certain that we're not going to take that. I want to highlight this in a different color, pink. I'm not going to take this transaction into account in updating the CRJ because it specifically relates to an error that was committed by the bank. Subsequently, the bank will correct this error and they'll take it to the debit side. So I'm not going to take it into account in preparation of the CRJ. Because this error was committed by the bank, this transaction will be reflected on the bank statement, on the bank reconciliation. Remember, a bank reconciliation is a supplementary statement to what the bank statement should look like. So I'm going to leave this transaction And when I do the bank reconciliation, I'm going to take this transaction into account in preparation of the bank reconciliation. So let's see if there's anything that we need to take into account. I'm going to highlight this in pink. That has been taken into account. Is there anything else? Check incorrectly entered in the cash payment journal instead of when we do the cash payment journal. I'm not going to take that into account. Check number 634 of withdrawn by the head office on the account appeared on the business's bank statement. I'm not going to take this into account at this point in time. I'll take it into account when we do the bank reconciliation. Check number was erroneously debited twice in the bank statement. Once more again, I'm not going to take it into account. I'll take it into account when we prepare the bank reconciliation. It looks like we've accounted for all items except that item. I'm going to highlight that item in yellow and I'm going to post it. Allow me to highlight this in yellow. I'm going to update the CRJ by the amount attributable to interest, the amount of 230. Let's quickly go there. Remember, it doesn't relate to sales, so I'm not going to take it to the sales column. It doesn't relate to debtors. It relates to sundry accounts because it's in respect of the interest on the current account, the interest income on the current account. Forgot the amount, 230. There you go. That's the interest amount. Let me just quickly write the description. It's interest income, or you can call it interest received. Let me just call it interest received. Interest. I'll just leave it like that. That refers to interest received. I don't have to do anything there because the formula has already taken into account that cell in arriving at the total for the bank column in regards to the interest received. I'm just going to name the name of the bank. This is Guess Bank. Provide further details. And under your doc, I'm going to say, if you want to know where we took this amount from, please go to the bank statement. That's it. There's nothing else. The total that we arrived at for the CRJ, it's an amount of 104,990. We're going to post this to the debit side of the bank account in the general ledger. Thank you. This is where I'm going to stop. And in the next presentation, I'll tackle the cash payment journal.